the owner, operator, master, constructor of Mighty Forge. He is been contracted to supply all the Princess Autos across the country with their forges. And I think Yon in the comments wrote that he has one of your forges and he's been enjoying it. I got to use it about, when was that? Was that last fall or this spring? I think it was this spring.
It was in the spring. We were at his place, yeah.
Yeah. So it was nice forge, nice little unit. I was super impressed with it actually. So
yep.
With that, I'm gonna let Lando. Do you have anything else to add? If not, we're gonna go on to Lorne.
No, I mean, we brought Lorne on to this whole event. The idea was that we saw Lorne's products being unleashed at Princess Auto. We've seen them before, like you said, at Yon's place. And with them being one of the new products that Princess Auto is carrying in their blacksmith line of tools, it's a really exciting thing that this is a Canadian-made product for being supplied for Canadian blacksmiths.
Do you have your phone on, Lyndon?
No.
I'm gonna mute you and let's get on to Lorne. We're getting feedback from somewhere. So
yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Lyndon. And Lorne looks like he might be frozen up now. So where did you run off to, Lyndon? You ran off. You disappeared for a little bit. Where you go, buddy? I'm getting feedback like crazy.
Something's happening with Lorne here.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yep. Do you have?
I guess I got two phones on because I couldn't get things to work right on. See, I'm off it now.
Yeah, you'll have to turn off one of the phones to get rid of the echo.
I'm talking and I'm muted too. I muted you, Lorne, until you can turn off your other device. They're creating feedback. Lyndon, what did you get?
Where
did you run off to?
What I disappeared for is a good friend of mine that's helped me out in the past before with hats and shirts and jackets and stuff, runs a company here in Winnipeg called Endo Clothing. The name of the gentleman is Nolan Kowalski, and he's an excellent lad. He printed up 25 shirts for us, 10 of which I'll be sending out to the presentators of this whole event as a thank you for being part of it. The other 15 shirts we'll have available to people for purchase, but you have to get an email to me ASAP if you want it, because it's first come, first serve. There's limited quantities. Like I said, there's only 15 available right now. So first come, first serve for the t-shirts, email basis to either Abstract Blacksmith or Manitoba Blacksmith Guild, both at gmail.com. Anybody over and above the 15 shirts that are available, we'll put you on a waiting list and we'll contact you when we're going to be going through with ordering more shirts, and we'll get more shirts in the long run. But for now, these are specifically designed for this event. It says ManIron 2020 on the front. They're in my truck. I'll run and grab some. But let's see if, do you think, Lorne, do you think you're ready to go? Give a thumbs up. You got just the one device now? Maybe unmute him there, Justin.
Oh, shit. Oop. I asked to unmute and then I muted him right away. Try now, Lorne.
Are you there?
There we go.
Hey, Lorne.
All right.
Yes. Working
yeah,
well.
I told you I wasn't very good with electronics. Hey.
All right. Lando.
So Lauren, welcome to the show here that we've got going on for everybody. This virtual event that we've put on for all of the world, essentially. Anybody around the world could be tuning in. We've had people from South Africa that were joining us. We had a guy from France that was joining us. We've got Sean that was in Edmonton that was just on, and now we've got yourself coming out of, whereabouts are you? You're near Burnaby, right?
We're 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 in Duncan, Vancouver Island.
Oh, you're on Vancouver Island. Nice, beautiful. That is got to be one of
No,
the
no,
most.
we're in Duncan, but Vancouver Island.
Yeah, that's hands down one of the most beautiful
You hear
places
me?
in Canada. I hear you, sir. Yep, you're good. You,
Oh, we're getting some freeze ups.
yeah, you got a little bit of a connection issue there going on, I think, Lauren.
I'm gonna try to find in here.
We can hear you fine.
Hello?
There we go.
Hey, Lauren.
Okay.
So, Lauren,
I'll try this.
you recently got your a couple of your forges into mass production with Princess Auto. That's pretty amazing. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
How long were you in talks with Princess Auto about getting this whole deal going?
I think, when I'm thinking back, it could be as much as 7 years.
Wow.
So basically, whenever Forge and Fire kicked off is sort of when it was sparked. And Brett Gilroy had contacted me, and we talked a little bit. And we were talking small numbers to begin with, and then time went on and on and on. And then, yeah, it started to pick up again. I have to say October, November of 2019. And then we went from there. They had to get a lot in place first because their anvils, other stuff that had to come from other areas of the world had to be basically ordered a year in advance, possibly. I'm not quite sure. And then that's where we went from there. And we started, we got our first purchase order in February.
Nice. How long or how many forges do you figure you produce a day?
It's hard to say by day. I think we're up in around the 600 unit mark now. And by the time all work orders are done, we'll be at about 715. So quite possibly it's about 800 a year.
Holy smokes.
But again, it depends because, as you know, this is a little bit of a niche market. And as it grows, it just gets more and more and more.
Yeah. Are you kind of at a point now where you're watching how the market's going? Obviously, COVID is playing a big effect on this, but where blacksmithing is at right now, do you see it still growing quite a bit with your forges? Do you think we're kind of at a plateau level here? I mean, from what I'm seeing, there's still lots of people joining the bandwagon, but at the same time, I'm really not too sure where to balance things. Is it still a growing thing, do you think?
I think we're going to see growth in this for the next, and again, I'm only going by experience because we've been doing this for 18 to 20 years. I think we're right at the bottom, working our way up the hill. I think it's going to be a lot bigger in the end than we think. So my guess is in the next 5 years, it could double.
Holy smokes, that's pretty amazing.
Well, you get so many people. Like I answer quite a few emails a day from people that ask about products. So what I do is I have our line. We make custom ones, and we also make ones that are really heavy duty, made out of real thick plate. And what I do is I always let them know that, Princess Auto has this, and what have you. And I see a lot of people actually just picking up the small ones, the single burner, see if they like it. And then you get some of them say, well, I'm going to get the other one too. And now they're into it. Their buddies come over and, oh, I got to have one. And it just, the list goes on and on. And I think it's going to be a growing industry. I really do.
Yeah. How many different styles of forges do you produce?
I think we got about 14.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
a big
I don't air them all. The two that Princess Auto have, I've made them strictly for them. So that's their product. I build them. It's just a little bit different than what our units are online. And again, like I said, I make the custom ones and we make the heavy plate ones for farriers and so on and so on. So having that many is a bit of a pain because you never have stock. So they're basically everything's built to order.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone would like something different, possibly a bigger hole or that sort of thing, right? So then it becomes a custom. So I build our 2-burner forge that's equal to the Apprentice, and then I've got a 2-burner knife forge, and those are the only ones that we are contemplating actually having a few in stock to move out.
If somebody was to order a forge from you, how fast do you generally turn one around for somebody?
I always let them know it's a week, so seven days, but 9 times out of 10, I've got it ready in 3.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's fairly quick. I mean, a lot of people, the biggest worry is shipping. They're all, under the interpretation, if I'm shipping from Vancouver Island to Halifax, say, that it's going to be a couple $100. But believe it or not, we got our shipping nailed right down. Same with Sean there. He's got his shipping nailed down too. We just pick the best outfit and move it along. But we can move a forge from Duncan to Halifax for about $70.
Oh, dang. That's a good deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, you really can't beat that.
No. So with your forges, if I'm not mistaken, you have CSA approval on, is it all of your forges or is there just a specific one?
There's none.
Oh, there is none. Okay.
There is no standard. And when there's no standard, nobody wants to touch the ball. I've been through it. I've tried to get a certification. I've sunk in quite a bit of money, and it just comes up dead every time because a forge is a different beast. It isn't like a furnace. It isn't like an oven. It's just basically a big fireball with lots of heat. So when you start putting that kind of force through, nobody wants to touch it. I've talked to CSA. I actually have a friend that works at CSA in Toronto, and nobody wants to talk about it. But it will come. Now, what we do though is the units that we have online called the heavy duty pro and the heavy duty, they have all the safeties on required by law, and those can be certified through technical safety. Through we have an outfit in Alberta that will do them, and TSSA, and I'm not sure what the gas branches are called in the other provinces, but that is another way to go.
Good to know.
But as for in the ones that we're doing now for Princess Auto, they're basically portable. They're like a barbecue.
Yeah.
And in quite frankly, that's the best way to go, no matter what. If you have to hard plumb it in, it gets pretty sticky. Some guys will do it, and some guys will not.
Yeah. Are all of your forges naturally aspirated forges?
Yes.
And the largest forge you carry?
I shouldn't say that. I have built and do build natural gas ones, and propane that are blower operated.
Okay.
So you use less pressure, therefore less gas, and you're just taking forced air to give you your heat.
Right. Is you supply that product at all, or is that just something that you've done on your own?
No, I supply the product. I build everything, and what it is it's any 2-burner or any 3-burner configuration. So if you wanted a 4-burner, it has 2-burner configurations on it. They can be hooked up blower. If you want it to go 6-burner, it's doable with that as well.
6-burner. What's the largest forge you've built?
The largest one to date, I have the longest one and the largest one. The longest one was 58 inches, 8-burner, and that went to a crowbar manufacturer in Vancouver. And I got one in Edmonton area that's 8-burner, 36 inches long. It is 6 inches or 8 inches inside. I can't remember exactly, by 8 inches. And he does nothing but Damascus.
Huh.
And he just needed that extra oomph. So basically, there's a set of 3 and a set of 5 burners. And he does all his Damascus in the set of 5.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so basically, there's no end to it. The deciding factor is the refractory. I'm limited to 36 inch by 24 inch because that's how it comes. Okay. And I buy, and our refractory's Canadian made. Kind of one of the only ones that use it, so it's been difficult to get through this pandemic. But they're doing their best to feed me as quick as they can make it. And it's made in Burlington.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. What's it heat rated to?
2600.
Cool. Nice.
Hey, Lorne, we just received a question from Wade Gary. He's asking if the forges have a max temperature difference if you're running on propane or natural gas.
That's a good question. We worked originally with the school here in Duncan. We put one in there years ago, and it worked all right on propane. It wasn't great. So then we made some modification and made it really good. Then Kwantlen University in Vancouver decided they built a new farrier barn and put in 15 units in there, which are on natural gas. We've actually matched natural gas to propane for heat. And the unfortunate thing about blower type is they're hard to turn down. They're either too hot or too cold. Now you can tweak them a little bit, but not like a propane forge that you can turn your gas pressure down and lower your temperature. With the blower style in natural gas, it's right up there.
Yeah.
Now you're hitting your max colors for sure. I hope that answers this question. But
yeah, he also had a follow-up regarding the cost. Is there cost savings running on natural gas compared to propane or vice versa?
Absolutely. Natural gas, like here on the island, it is relatively inexpensive. Be an example, I actually heat my shop with one natural gas forge all winter. My highest bill in the winter for my shop, and it is not insulated. Of course, we're not, we dipped -5 at the most, but it is damp, is about $112. And I'm in the shop 8 to 12 hours.
Nice.
So it's good.
Sorry. With the natural gas forge, do you have to worry about the carbon monoxide like you do with the propane forge?
Same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
What I do is I got a hood above it if I need to turn it on. But again, opening a door or a window, my shop is only 800 square feet, so it's not a big deal that way. I always keep a door open because it gets too hot. in the shop if you're actually doing any forging. But it's best to always have a hood drawing it out, even at 400 CFM or even less, just drawing that any off gases out of the shop.
Yeah. Well, what got you into making forges?
It's kind of a funny story, and I have a friend that's a farrier, actually became my friend, and I worked for a company called Pacific Energy here in Duncan, and I was the front end operator of all the machinery. And I went out to the dumpster one day, and this lady's in the dumpster digging through it. I said to her, I said, like, what are you doing? And she says, well, I'm looking for scrap so I can do some forging. Okay, whatever. I said, get your stuff and just don't go in there. We'll dump something on top of your head. So then she said to me on her way out, she says, well, if you want to play with my forge, just let me know and I'll bring it by. And I said, whatever. So anyway, get lost. So she left. A month later, she comes back looking for more scraps. And then she mentioned it again. I said, well, what are you talking about? He said, a forge. To be honest with you, I didn't even know what the hell a forge was at the time. So she showed me the forge and I looked at it and I said, oh, that's cool. She fired it up and I said, that's really cool. So if you don't mind me ask, how much did it cost? She said, oh, this much. Oh, I can do better than that. So then I just started designing. But design the box, that only took about an hour. But the burners took 3 years before I actually had a burner that was my burner, not a copy of something either online or whatever. So it did take a while to get the right mixture and everything else, but that's basically how it started.
And that was 20 years ago, you said?
That was 20 years ago.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, I've worked with metal basically all my life, but I mean, and manufactured, and this just, I don't know, it just sparked me, and then I started working with it, and I went to some farrier competitions and that sort of thing, and showed my wares, and sold a couple here, a couple there, and years later, it's just blossomed into a full-time business for the last 5 years.
Nice. Very good. Yeah. Time do we got here? 22. So, with your forges being produced for the last 20 years, you kind of got to see the whole blacksmithing community grow in Canada from what used to be probably not a huge crowd to a very large crowd now. I'm going to guess that the majority of people buying forges from you are knife guys.
That's correct. Everyone, pretty much all of them are knife. And they always ask, on the forges and that. My favorite design of a forge would be the Mighty, because it's more of a box, so you can do everything in it. But the knife part of it has just gone crazy. Absolutely.
Have you ever had a artistic style blacksmith approach you about creating a forge that has the ability to take in a very large piece, like say 2 foot by 2 foot or 3 foot by 3 foot, somehow being able to manipulate that large of a piece in a forge?
Yeah, but I kind of stay away from it because it when they're so hot, at least the ones we have, you get like a clamshell style. We've tried it, and all we've done is just buckle the steel.
Yeah.
So being as a box or a rectangle or a tube or whatever, it holds the integrity better. And because 95% of our forges are modular, in other words, some is welded, but there is bolt together portions of it. Having the bolt together part allows it to move when it gets hot, when it cools. If you weld it all together, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get buckling and twisting. So, and we sort of learned that the hard way in the beginning, just doing it for myself.
That's through manufacturing process, you'll learn that there's a lot of things that are best to be welded completely solid so they never move, or to be made in a way that they are allowed to move. And a lot of things need to be made so that they have the ability to move. And with a forge, with the heat induction in it, you're going to be getting constant movement in there. So if everything's solid, somewhere something's going to eventually give. And that's something that I learned with one of the first forges that I built, is it was so tight and rigid that when the heat expanded and it actually had bricks cracking on me because of the heat expansion.
Yeah, that definitely happens. I'm used to working with stainless as well, and stainless is the worst. So if you can make a stainless, I don't know, let's just say a charcoal barbecue, if you can make that fully stainless work without twisting and buckling into a big heap of garbage, that's where the idea came from, is working with stainless steel and barbecues in not in propane, but in charcoal. And I basically they were riveted together and they didn't buckle, but as soon as you welded them, they buckled. I'm not saying that happens with everything. It just depends how hot it gets and then how often you use it. So a guy that only uses it a couple of times a week probably won't have a problem. But if you're using it on a daily basis, you're going to have a problem and it will begin to buckle. I'll give you a quick example with Kwantlen University with their 15 units. Those units, they go on in the morning and they don't go off till nighttime on natural gas, full blast. And eventually, even the hard, heavy duty ones will burn out. It's all a matter of keeping your refractory in great shape. And if you don't, it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to deteriorate when it comes to heat.
Nice. We have a good segue question for that. One of the owners, one of the comments here is asking how you would recommend on relining the forge. Some of his bricks are separating from the wool. How would he go about maybe patching it or repairing it?
Yeah, you can use the high temperature cement as long as it gets high enough. Is it one of ours possibly?
Yeah.
It can take quite a bit, as long as you don't see discoloration on the outside of the steel. You probably can continue on, even though it flakes off. You just have to take the flake out. When you get to the point where it starts to get dark on the outside, so it's beginning to burn the paint on the top or on the sides, that's when you need to reline it. That's when you've almost gone too far. I find with most farriers, they wait to the last minute and it's too late.
All the paint's gone. It's starting to rust on the outside.
Got a hole right through it.
Oh, wow.
So, but the beauty again is that all the parts are replaceable. They're just the shell that can come apart and be put back together.
Nice.
So if they are at the point where their paint is being affected, do you supply replacement parts for your forges? Do they just order a full sheet of K-wool from you? How do they go about doing that?
Yeah, they can. Well, if you're going to order a door kit, basically we pre-cut it and send it to you. If you order a lining kit, like the hard lining, which I call board, we cut it and you got to put the holes in, because there's no two forges that are going to be exactly the same after they've been fired. So once you put your new lining in, you drill your holes in the top, and if it has side ports, then you would cut your side port holes. As for the wool, you would just replace it. But if it's one of ours in the door, there's three layers of wool. And in the Princess Auto ones, there is 2 layers of wool. So if you've started to break into the first layer, you could take that layer out, move the back layer forward, and put the one that's got some chips out of it in the back. So now you essentially have a brand new piece.
Sweet.
So that way your door area, you get 2 chances in those, or 3 chances, depending on how rough it is, or how rough you are on the door or the liner. But we'll supply any type of kit.
So when somebody wants to cut the new holes, what do they use to cut the new holes?
1 1/8 hole saw for the top holes for your burners. And if it's the wool, you just use a utility knife.
And you just use a regular bicarb hole saw?
Yeah, I just go and get everything I got is Milwaukee, so
Yeah.
I just go up in the depot and I just pick one up, and it lasts me. I think we've gone through 2 of them, and we've done 700 forges this year. So
Cool, man.
So I mean, they last a long time. You just have to really hold on and be straight and square coming down.
Yeah, and make sure you use a vacuum, because that dust is terrible for you, right?
Exactly. And you know what? Put a respirator on or a dust mask. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It's safety first when it comes to that.
Cool. When you're disposing of, this is another question from the chat. Glenn Martin is asking how he should dispose of wool when it's used up.
What I do is well, it goes right into my garbage bags, but I buy the thickest garbage bags I can buy.
Yeah.
And there's really nowhere else to bring them. I mean, I suppose you could take them to, a place that deals with that sort of thing.
I don't think they do. I think you're right. I have a buddy in the asbestos removal abatement field, and they use heavy duty garbage bags. And when they're brought to the landfill, they're lined up and then covered up. So
yeah. Well, they also double bagging is a good way to go too.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a drywall reno in the house, and I don't think there was asbestos in it, but we didn't take any chances. We double bagged it no matter what. And then just the way to do it.
Yeah, and like you said, it doesn't hurt to wear a respirator. You can't be too safe, right?
That's right. And we do all the time when we're handling it. We always wear a dust mask or a respirator. Most of the time, respirator, because we just change the cartridges.
Do you do any forging yourself?
No. I've done some, but I've done a lot of watching, but I don't do any. I would like to, but I never seem to have time.
I was gonna say, between making all these forges, no time.
Yeah, it's like I got a cabin in the backyard that I've been working on. That was my old shop, and trying to get it set up as an Airbnb, and I still not finished that project. I've got a 34-foot boat down at the bay, and it's another project, and I've only gotten maybe a half a day into it this year, so there's just no time.
It's the story you spoke of when you met the lady in the scrap bucket there. Thinking about that whole scenario, a different person in your shoes might have walked away with a wife in that situation.
Yeah, no.
Sounds like a blacksmith's dream wife right there. Oh, I found her in the scrap bin. She asked me if I wanted to play with her forge.
Yeah. Well, when she said it to me first, I thought, God, go away, lady. I figured she was coming. Wasn't. Anyway, long story short, we've been good friends. I mean, she's got a husband and 2 kids and what have you, but
and you're still friends.
Just a great person, and I think she's got 4 of my forges. I mean, I just got me into it. whenever there's something wrong with one of the forges, I go and fix it or bring her another one.
That's amazing. She's an artistic blacksmith, or what does she do?
Oh, she's a shoer, or was a shoer. She doesn't do it anymore. Okay. And I'm not sure exactly how many farriers are around us here, but I have a lot of customers that are farriers, and they're my test pilots basically for our product. If anybody's going to take them down, it'll be them. So, and they keep coming back, so it must be okay.
If there's one thing that I've learned when it comes to blacksmithing is the farrier side of it seems to be where there's a lot of money. If you want to make money as a blacksmith, farrier work is definitely a good line to get into, eh?
It is, but it is very physical. So have a plan before you start that you can fade off into doing something else as time rolls on, because I'm going to be honest with you, from what I see, and I know a lot of elderly fellows too that were farriers, they're beat up and beat up bad. So a lot of these guys are saying, hey, I'm out of here at 45. That's it. I got to move into something different. And that's the best way to look at it. It's a tough job.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, look at the list of complaints people put out there that they're dealing with when it comes to blacksmithing: the carpal tunnel, the tennis elbow, the what is it that you get in the tendonitis in the shoulder, whatever, you name it. But that's the price we pay to do what we love to do, right?
Yeah, well, it happens in this industry that I'm working in too, because I got a buggered shoulder and a buggered back, but we just keep plowing through it. It's the love of doing it, basically.
Now, we spoke the other day, and you gave us a little bit of a tour of your shop. You've got quite the shop set up. It's a nice, tight little knit shop. Everything's really well organized. It's almost set up in a production run style where you start at one side and you start making your way around the shop. You've got your own little forklift going on in there as well. Have you always been running it out of that shop, or is that something you're doing recently, or?
I moved down into that shop 7 years ago. My small shop was in the back, so all the fabricating was done at my work. So I just rented the equipment to do it. But I was finding it was too hard to bring it back and forth. Too much physical carrying and everything else. So then we set it up, built a shop in my front of my property. Actually, it was to house my boat and my car. Neither one I have anymore, but because everything else, it got put outside to do this type of business. But it was great to have it all in one place and have everything there and being that close to the house.
When you were working out of your old shop, how big was that?
180 square feet.
Holy smoke! So it's like a shed.
Yep, it was my original garden shed, and with concrete and everything, a little overkill, but I had everything up there, all the cutting, not the cutting of the bodies, but the welding, the grinding, the painting, everything was set up in that shop. But it just got to be too small when I got a press brake and a cutter. It just made sense to build a new shop.
Yeah. Somebody else is showing us his little shop. I think that's Glenn Martin. He's showing us he's got a little shed exactly like what you're talking about. That's what he works out of. It's got
and they're ideal. They're just, they're away from everything else. You can turn everything off, and they're not attached to the house by any means, so nobody's complaining about noise. And it's great.
Hey, Glenn, what kind of plant is that hanging next to your head there? Glenn's got what looks like a fairly interesting plant hanging next to him there. I'm not too sure if it is what I think it is, but Yeah. Anyways, so
An annoying one.
an annoying one.
Jan, what kind of plant is this hanging beside my head? Begonia. It's a begonia. And my shed is a barbecue gazebo, 5x8.
Nice, right on.
Yeah. Cool, Lauren. Well, it's been absolutely awesome of you to come online here. I don't know, do you have the ability to show any of your products at all to us, or?
Yep. I'll see if hopefully I don't lose you there. I'll go down and we'll show you if we got anything left.
Awesome.
I got my right-hand guy here's, we're boxing right now. We had painted all morning. That's okay. That's all right. We got the one on the stand here. I just got to figure out how this works here for spinning this around. We got this older one here. This is a natural gas unit. So it's banged up a bit. We used it for classes there for a couple of years. And that's the one I use to heat the shop in the winter time. So that's the 2-burner version. I added a couple handles on it. And this, see if I can get this up here. I don't know. I'm very good with cameras. So there's the top of it. And you can see this is the mixing box that the air is driven from the bottom. And I'm going to bring this around just. So there's the air box there. None of this is painted. It's just put together and used. And it drives the air up through the bottom, mixes with the gas in the back. And as it passes through, it goes through the venturis and into the body. And then it fires down. Yeah, you can see the top is going on there, but anyways. So that's just the unit there. I don't have any new stuff here. I actually got some cut stuff that I cut a sheet there just before we went online, and I'll spin it around and see if I can get. So, can you see that?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so that's just basically the pattern of the apprentice for Princess Auto, and at the very end here, that's the bottom of the master 3-burner knife forge.
Wow, big.
Yeah, I don't know what else I can show you. Like I said, we just did all our boxing today. There's the skid ready to go to Princess Auto Monday.
That's a CNC plasma that you're running, right?
Correct. Yes.
What
CNC plasma with a hypertherm. Pardon?
What brand of plasma are you running?
I use a hypertherm plasma. The cutter, the power supply, and then the actual table was made by a local guy here in Duncan. He's made several.
Oh, nice.
I needed a certain size because of my shop size. I needed something that was, 4 feet by type deal, just because of size restraints.
Do you have to have its own ventilation system set up for that, or how do you vent that?
Yeah, I do, but it's I'll show you that too. It's an attic fan from Home Depot. They actually don't sell them anymore. I'll spin it around here, and then there's the filter there, and I just flip the switch, and that's about the extent of the noise of it. It's 1,000 CFM, and it takes care of all the smoke that comes off it. But we also have a water table underneath there, so most of it gets driven into the water.
Yeah.
So that's almost no smoke.
Have you ever ran it without the water table?
Yeah, it's pretty smoky.
Yeah. Terrible. And it's just
you know what? Having water table.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I've
having
heard
the water table is.
I've heard that putting a little bit of soap in the water can help break the surface tension to allow things to stick to the water a lot better. Have you ever played around with doing anything like that?
Yeah, well, we have a soap jar there because we test every unit, and sometimes we pour the soap mixture into the spray jug, but we do it above the plasma, and when the soap hits the water, it takes care of all the grease. It just clears it right up. I've never actually played with it that way. I hate the water part of it because you gotta either drip dry your parts or wipe them down to grind them. But it is a whole lot better than breathing in smoke for one, or having a stack coming up and you got smoke pouring out of your shop in the middle of 90-degree weather.
Yeah.
So it's basically, a hidden gem that way.
And you do your own painting. You've got your own paint booth set up as well. Did you make that paint booth?
Yes.
And is that for powder coating, or is that just spray coating?
That is just for high temperature paint. So the paint that I use is a metallic paint that is a very high temperature. Okay. So, and I'll show you that too, and I'll actually open the back up because they're not hard to make. The filters I get at Home Hardware. Just give me You there? We're getting on low battery here, so I'm gonna have to go to the plug.
We're almost at our time, anyways. So, what's 15 more minutes?
2x4 construction with just like a squirrel cage fan on the top. Anyway, I gotta plug it in before we lose you.
Yeah.
There we go. We got okay. I'm plugged in, so we didn't lose you.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the paint booth was fairly simple. It's 2x4 construction, 2 filters, and I just have a fan, and then I ducted it outside. By the time, because I use the high temperature paint, and it's almost like a powder. It's a wet powder that goes on and it dries. It is a lacquer base.
Okay.
It doesn't actually spew out black paint out the end of the fan. So after, I don't know, say do a couple hundred units, I just vacuum everything out because all the powder falls down into the back of the fan.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's pretty nice paint. It's fairly easy to work with, other than if your product's cold, it'll run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you heat the unit at all, or it just goes off of the natural heat in the room?
I got heaters that I set everything up underneath, so we just heat it. I fire it up like when I get up in the morning. I'll just crowd everything to where the heater is, fire it up, and then about 2 hours later we'll paint.
Gotcha.
And then it's usually pretty good then.
Very cool. Do your neighbors ever complain about the work you do, or you're pretty good with your neighbors?
I'm pretty good with the neighbors. We keep our noise value. Like we don't really start anything noisy till 8:30, 9 o'clock, just in respect for the neighbors. The other thing is I cut artwork on the plasma cutter and paint it up, and somehow they manage to all get some. So it's all about keeping everybody happy. They do like it that we're here full time. So if there's ever an issue, they can, knock on the door and we can lend a hand or whatever. So I have good neighbors that way. I couldn't say it happens for everybody, but we're pretty fortunate.
No, but I mean, the way you handle it is obviously the way to go about it if you can. I mean, that's part of the idea of staying good with your neighbors is to, help them out so they help you out type thing, right?
That's right. And when we ran classes here, we did let them know. and of course we had four students and one instructor, and we found every way possible to keep the noise down. We pretty much nailed it. We'd had 4 guys hitting on an anvil in here, and nobody could hear it outside.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh,
yeah.
So who did you have come in to do instruction, do classes with you guys as instructors?
Curtis App. He's a young local artist here in Duncan, and he's very, very good. And he's got the ability to teach. In other words, he's stays on task, and he is calm. You know what I mean? Like, and has no problem if somebody's lagging, he can help them move up without making it look like that they're behind. If you catch what I'm saying. So it's just about keeping everybody on the same page and everybody moving along good. He's got a good reputation that way for everything he does.
It was explained to us earlier that he is more like carbon and less like nickel, whereas myself and Justin are more like nickel and less like carbon, because nickel is always excited.
You got that right. I mean, I can't do it. I'm too much like a slingshot, so I bounce all over the place. I never stay on task, but whatever, it is what it is. But that's why I got him to do it. It's just, again, he's young and he's moving up the ladder, and you can see his talent is changing as time goes on, and he's just getting better and better and better. And he's gone to places where Sean has been there on Salt Spring Island and things like that. And it's just awesome to see. It really is.
How far is Salt Spring Island from you?
Well, if I had a really good arm, I could throw a rock over there, but you got to wait for the ferry. So it's from here, it's 10-minute drive to Crofton. And from Crofton, it's a half-an-hour boat ride, but you usually have to wait a half an hour to an hour to get on the boat.
There's a bunch of guys out of Salt Spring Island, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Absolutely. There's Jerry Sparshoe and Allison, they're over there, and they have Thistle Rock Forge, and there's another pair of talented people. I'm not great with names. I know faces better than names, but there's quite a few over there. Absolutely.
Somebody might know this better than me, but I think, is it Chris Green guy? Is it from there? Or is that, yeah, Cindy, you're nodding yes? Or what about Mike Jones Knives?
Yeah, he's from
that guy. He's well known in the community. He makes some really nice stuff. I like Mike Jones stuff. He's got the bushfucker. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but
no.
That thing
I know Chris.
Zombies all day long.
Yeah, I know Chris, but I doesn't. Mike who?
Mike Jones.
Mike, yeah, I know Mike. Yeah, he's got one of my forges. I know he's in Quesnel.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, that's the small community that we're all part of. You think you can come into this and have an ego of any sort, you're going to quickly find out that there's no place for that. That we're a small community. You have to be humble with each other. You have to be kind to each other the way we are. Very sharing. Everybody's very open. Secrets, if you're keeping secrets, they're it's not happening too often. It's few and far between people keeping secrets. We like to share, and as you can see through this event, that's what we're all about. We're sharing. We've got Lorne Bakker here showing us how he does his mighty forges out of British Columbia, and how he's got in cahoots with Princess Auto and is supplying Princess Auto all of Canada now with his forges. You can see in the background, I don't know if you guys are looking at the other videos, we've got people, all sorts of people. We've got people sitting in their shops watching. We've got a guy, I think that's Steve Dupras, who's working away right now, swinging the hammer. I just noticed Rick Marchand just joined us from, I believe he's in Nova Scotia. We've had people from all over the world join us on this event, which is absolutely amazing. I'm very stoked that we've got this going on. Another shout out to our sponsors. We've got Cindy Bennett from Pritchell and Hardy sponsoring us. She's got a nice little prize package, sweet prize package for us for a competition that we've got coming up that we'll release details at the end of this event. So you have to stay tuned. It's going to be awesome because Thompson Metals is also sponsoring us. They've got a wicked prize package as well as part of that. So we got Cindy from Pritchell and Hardy. We've got Thompson Metals. And thank you very much to C2 Center for Crafts for also sponsoring. Justin, did you have anything that you would like to speak to Lorne about at all?
No, just a huge thank you for coming in and showing us the shop and talking about your history through Mighty Forge, learning how to make them and the process it takes I'm not surprised 3 years to like really refine your product. It's a long game. It's not a quick game. So
you're right there.
Yeah, but it's awesome to see that you stuck to it.
It's rewarding, and all the people around it. I tell you, it's quite amazing. Again, I'm great with faces, not so great with names, but yeah, it's a lot larger than people think, and only growing.
Yeah, well, you hit when the iron was hot, man. Like, and you got lucky with it. Everyone jumping into this. It's that's
nice
business.
Nice one, Justin. Nice one, buddy. I like that. Got to throw in a couple blacksmithing innuendos in there every once in a while, right?
Sure. Nose to the grindstone.
Oh. No, we've got a lot of people saying thank you, Lorne, for everything that you've done for the community. Cindy Bennett is, I think she's winking at you pretty good right now, says she wants to talk to you about something there. I don't know, but says thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we got something set up for Monday, Tuesday to chat. So
perfect.
Yeah, it's all good.
Awesome.
Thanks again, buddy.
Hey, no. Actually, thanks for having me involved. I'm okay with it. Other than I don't do electronics. I had everything set up. I even bought a GoPro and everything to hook it all up, but I couldn't get it to work.
Oh.
I wanted it set up where I could just sit on a chair and look at it and move it around and stuff. But maybe another time, get it figured out sooner or later. I have to work with.
One of the easiest things that I did to transition into doing that was buying a Macintosh. Everything you need is right there on the computer, just ready to go.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mostly have all that. I tried it with my iPad this morning and it probably would have worked, but I don't know what the heck happened. So it is what it is.
Computers.
Yeah. I picked up it's a little tiny tripod, which is kind of nice. And then on the top of it, you can pivot a phone onto it, so you can pop it in there, and then type
that works
onto it.
I bet you that works really good, so they can actually look at your phone while you're talking to people on live videos. Hey.
Yep. We've talked about this before.
I know. Okay, well, Lorne, it's been a absolute blast. We've got your buddy Joe McKenna coming up right after this. Joe is from Vashti Grinders, and he's going to go over his 2x72 grinder with us as to how he makes them, what's so great about them, how to utilize them to their best. And yeah, you and Joe have been friends for a while, so thank you again, Lorne.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yep. No, that's
Good stuff. All right, you're welcome, guys.
All right, we're swapping the spotlight over to Joe McKenna. Joe McKenna is not from Ontario, even though it says that on the poster.
That's okay.
He's actually from British Columbia as well. And he is the owner of Vashti Grinders. I think Lyndon put my nose onto them. And the only thing I've heard about Vashti Grinders is that they are really awesome high-end machines. I wish I knew more about it. And I figure in the next hour, I'll be learning a lot about it. So once again, thanks to our Center to Crafts Manitoba Craft Center, and our sponsors, Thompson Steels and Cindy Bennett over at Pritchell and Hardy. So let's change the spotlight over to Joe, and I need to get him to unmute.